already live on YouTube right now. So we will alert Rick that he can he can
Oh,
watch us. First, I'm
Oh,
going to
I'm sure
mute
he knows.
myself. I'm going to go ahead and share this link over to my Facebook page. But it's great to see you guys, Joey and Melanie. How's it going?
Good.
yeah, really good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
It's May. It's almost summertime.
I
Almost Mother's Day.
it's not summertime in Texas yet.
No, next week. We're going to be into the 90s next week, but right now
Okay.
it's
Oh, I think I saw Wednesday 100.
Oh,
no,
okay.
really?
I think I
Yeah.
did.
It's 78 out there right now, so it's really kind of beautiful. It's a little gray, but
Yeah,
it's
it's nice.
really
Let
very
me
pleasant
check.
outside. And I spent all morning out working in the yard before going and helping my sister-in-law with a little project. So, and now I'm back home and talking to you two. So
Nice.
it's actually been a really good day.
That's great. It's a
Yeah,
nice day
Tuesday
here too.
97 and Wednesday high 100.
It's starting
It's
early.
starting.
Yeah.
You guys,
I've
it's a
got my air
beautiful
conditioning.
it's a beautiful day here and the high I'm looking right here on my screen, 66.
Ooh, that's
Nice.
It's
cold.
That's really pleasant.
just right. Just right for a little bike ride this afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have to wear a hoodie all the time.
I know. Well, that's good. So you're suited to the climate where you are. That's excellent.
Yeah, except I'm suited to being in the
Yeah.
air conditioning.
The climate is climate controlled.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We go from our climate controlled homes to our climate controlled cars to the climate controlled stores and offices. So yeah.
And it's why I always carry a hoodie or a jacket in my car,
Yeah.
even in August.
Hmm.
Yeah, because the stores are so cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and when you are acclimated to being hot in Texas in the summertime, even if you go to the movies, to grab a hoodie because it's going to be
Always.
65 degrees in the theater,
Exactly.
especially
Yeah.
these days because they set the theater for a full capacity and it's usually, half or a third full. And so it's not enough bodies in the room to warm it up. So it's
I
pretty
can't even
chilly.
remember the last time I wore shorts and a t-shirt to the movie.
Yeah.
It's so cold in there.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're amused by that, Sue.
I know.
Yeah.
We have our quirks here too, but it's kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have rain, right?
We have we have rain, but summer's usually pretty dry. It's been already kind of started. It's nice. It's
Mhm.
dry, but just like we were just talking about before we got on, that we get the marine layer in, especially in the mornings where you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, it's all so overcast and kind of foggy. And by like, hopefully by like noon or 1 o'clock, it just burns off and then it's just beautiful.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, if
that's
you're outside in time for it, you can almost see it. It's like you're
hmm
just not paying attention, and all of a sudden the lack of shadows goes away, and the shadows are there, and you look up and the sky is blue, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, I know it's really funny because people from out of town are like, "Oh no, it's gonna rain."
Yeah.
And it's like, no, those clouds don't rain. They just kind of hover and
Just
then
block the sun.
they go away. I don't know where they go, but they go away and then it's a clear, beautiful day.
Yeah,
So anyway,
the marine layer.
the marine layer. Yeah.
Yeah, I gave up the surf report when I moved from California to Texas and exchanged it for the pollen report, for the allergy report.
Oh, yeah.
We're having that too. That's serious this year. I'm telling you.
It doesn't get me as much as it gets my husband.
Mm,
Yeah, some people are more sensitive
Allergies.
to it
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, you guys, so it's almost Mother's Day. Happy Mother's
yeah.
Day, Melanie.
Happy Mother's Day, Sue.
Happy Mother's Day to both of you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Joey.
So we thought that it would be fun to talk about, doing some trips with moms. And I just got back from a really cool trip with my mom. So I wanted to show you guys some pictures and tell you a little bit about it. And then we can use it as a springboard to talk about traveling to Disney with your mom and other trips. Have you guys uh, traveled with your mom to Disney before? I know, Joey, you did when you were a kid, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, and I took my mother-in-law. Well, she came with us in 2014, so I can talk about that. But yeah, I went to Disneyland with my mom all the time when I was a
Of
kid. But yeah,
course.
Yeah.
And Melanie, you've traveled with your mom to Disney, right?
Yes, yes, she took me to Disneyland and Disney World, when I was younger, and then we've just yeah, she's gone with me a bunch through the years. Yeah, I guess then it flips. I took her, right?
I know.
But yeah, yeah. So I've had different experiences through the years with her that we can talk about. But I know we're
Cool.
going to talk about your mom first, right?
My mom she gets pole position today
Okay.
because we just went on an amazing trip. I'm going to show you guys a couple pictures. Let's see. I'm allowing Zoom to do whatever it wants to do here. So there we go. Can you see this picture of us?
I see your whole screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oops, wrong screen. Here, let me stop the share. There,
Got
that
your
should
personal
work.
calendar in there.
Yeah, like you can see. How about
There we
this?
go.
We
Yeah.
Okay.
see what you're up to.
I see the window with the menu on the side, but
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
I know. I don't like that. I don't know why it's doing that.
I like the pointing.
Yeah.
Look over
So
there. It's a thing.
Well, she's
yeah.
pointing to trips. If you see trips and memories, see?
Yeah.
I
That
know.
takes out some of the
I don't like
menu.
this.
Yeah.
I'm turning it off. Hang on. I'm gonna try to fix it. Anyways, we went on a real adventure, and it was my mom's idea. And this is part of why it was so cool. Well, you guys are just gonna see my screen because I can't figure out why. You're just gonna see all my album names and stuff too.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
you
hard.
cut off half of
cut
them.
it halfway. It's okay. I
Okay.
think.
All right. So, anyways, um, my mom is a full-time caregiver for her husband who has Alzheimer's.
Oh,
And she has been in this role for years. And so she's lucky to be able to go get away for anything,
oh yeah.
even just during the day.
Yeah.
And but she found a place where he could stay so that she could do a little bit of traveling. And so I told her that if she wanted to go on a trip, if she could make it happen, I would take her anywhere she wanted to go. And she said she wanted to go to Costa Rica. So that's what we did. And Costa Rica is like a place everybody, if you've ever talked to anyone who's been there, they're always like, oh my God, it is amazing. You should go. You have to go. But it's not like it was someplace on the top of my list. And so when she said she wanted to go there, I was like, okay, cool. Now I have a reason to go to Costa Rica.
Thanks, Mom.
So yeah, exactly. But the reason she wanted to go there is because she's a big nature lover and she's a person who has, bird feeders in the backyard and all that. She loves birds. And of
I was
course,
wondering with those binoculars. Yeah. She was bird watching.
yeah, exactly. And so, of course, Costa Rica is the great destination for that.
Yeah.
So we kind of put the trip together really quickly because once we found out this was possible, it was like, we need to go now. A friend of mine who's a travel agent suggested we do a tour because I didn't even know where to go in Costa Rica or how to get around or anything. And so we did a tour. We had a guide who took us all around and that was all organized. It was all, package deal. You just pay for it before you go. All your meals are included, all your hotels. They get you everywhere you need to go. And I highly recommend this if you've never been to a place, and especially if you're traveling with someone who maybe, it's one thing if you're going with a family of people who there's multiple people who can do the driving or figure out where to go or whatever. But like, we just wanted to go there and not hassle with any of the stuff. So that was really great. So anyway, this picture I wanted to share with you guys because this is something we did during the trip is we did this tour where we took a boat in a canal through the mangrove forest and let me show you a little video of it. Somewhere I have video of it. Um the
Right next to it. There
I
you go.
think it's this one. Um it was basically a real life jungle cruise.
Oh, wow.
And when we when we got to the place where this is on a plantation actually that grows palm trees that are where palm oil comes from. But they have this mangrove forest there, and they had these canals in the forest, and they give little tours in the canals. So here's you'll probably see in a second. There's monkeys in these trees
Hmm.
just hanging out. Everywhere in Costa Rica, monkeys, just wild monkeys. Oh, you have to
Aw.
you have to be careful to lock your hotel. Like if you have a balcony with a sliding door, you better lock it because the monkeys know how to get in.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so these are capuchin monkeys. And that one actually has a baby. You can't see it very well, but
Aw.
yeah, so anyway, one of our tour things that we did on the tour was this cruise in the jungle. And as soon as we got there and I saw the boats and I saw the water and everything, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the Jungle Cruise.
Yeah.
Wow.
The actual Jungle Cruise. And
Did you see the backside of water?
we did. The funniest thing was like the whole time I was waiting for some dad jokes because I mean our guide was telling us all about the jungle and what we were gonna see. And I was like, and here's another boat coming towards us. And it seriously looked like the Jungle Cruise
That's
boat.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, how great that the Imagineers, they didn't call them that back in 1955, but that the goal was make it look like you're in a Costa Rican jungle. I mean, that probably it wasn't that granular, but it was the idea of all these
Yeah.
different jungle rivers of the world, and there you
Yeah,
go.
I know it's amazing.
Just needs to be a little
So
punnier.
exactly. Yeah. But it was really, really cool. And I tried to like tell our guide, like, this is like the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland. And they're like, what? Because if you live in Costa Rica, you don't need to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
You already are living in this wonderful place.
Yeah. I don't know, that
So
water doesn't look too inviting, but
no, it's pretty muddy. Oh, this is one of my favorite
Murky.
shots. The guy that was driving the boat took this one. This is our guide, Memo. That was our guide on the boat cruise. And we were like, first we staged the photo of us with the binoculars, but then he had the guy that's driving the boat's like, no, no, no. Everybody get in the picture and pretend and you do the tour guide thing. And so he's like, it's a whole series of pictures of him saying, no, it's right there. No, over there. Don't you see it? And so we captured the moment of him being like, it's right there.
that's awesome.
So,
Yeah, the kids these days can't relate to the binocular thing because they just pull their phones out and zoom in
yeah,
and look at their screen instead of
exactly.
looking through binoculars. So yeah, but we get it. We totally get it.
Yeah.
I know. The binoculars, number one tip, bring good binoculars if you're going to Costa Rica. So you just spend a lot of time out in nature and this is a huge tree. I'm like in the tree
Hmm.
inside these ficus trees. They grow around another tree and then the other tree disintegrates and this is this big hollow inside.
Hmm.
So we got to explore like it was kind of like feeling like the Lord of the Rings forest, these ancient forests. We saw we
Hmm.
went to an orchid farm and saw it was more like not really a farm, but like a garden where they had all these different kinds of orchids. Like if you're into photography, like nature photography too.
Hmm.
This is,
Mhm.
yeah, this one was really
That's
neat
amazing.
too. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I love going to the orchid farm they have at the Mexico Pavilion at Disney World at Epcot.
I've
Um,
never been to
it's
that.
pretty great, and we usually go in March, and in springtime is usually when they're all the whole place. It's kind of on the outside, wraps around sort of the south side of the pyramid, and it's pretty neat.
Wow, that's cool. I have to remember that for next time.
Yeah, I just heard a week ago that orchids are great plants to own and keep indoors, especially in your bedroom, because they put out like 3 or 4 times more oxygen than a typical house plant.
No
Wow.
kidding.
And so while you're sleeping at night expelling a bunch of carbon dioxide, the orchid is actually working hard and turning that into oxygen right there in your
Oh,
room. I don't know if it's true or not, but some
It sounds
influencer on
cool.
social
it
media
sounds
said it, so I've
good.
got to believe it.
That's a really fun fact. Oh, also, like in terms of
Oh
birds, this
wow.
bird's called the mott. Yeah, look at his head.
I love it.
And he has this like long tail, but then there's sort of just a little thin thread, kind of, and then
With
a
an
little
extra.
extra.
It's an air brake.
And like, yeah, who knows? I think it's probably to get the girl bird's attention, actually.
Oh,
But
oh, flap, flap, flap.
exactly. Yeah. The thing is, like, when you're in a place like that, there's no wind. Like, you're basically outside all the time, in the restaurants and stuff. Just like when you're well, Orlando sometimes a little more like air conditioned, but like in Disneyland too, you're just outside. And so you can be sitting there having your breakfast, and a bird like this lands on a branch right next to you.
Wow.
It's just super cool. Let's see what else. Oh, we saw a sloth. So this
Mm.
sloth, um,
Oh, my niece would be so jealous. She loves sloths.
we actually saw quite a few sloths, but this one, I got a little bit more clear picture of. This sloth, which you'll see if I'm showing the right video here. This is in a tree next to a grocery store parking lot. Because
Oh,
the wildlands, like the developed stuff, is always surrounded by big trees and wildlands. Oh, it doesn't. But if I put it down there, you would see it's like right next to a parking lot. Um, Sloths, monkeys, you could hear howler monkeys every time we got out of the car practically. Um, it's just crazy, the wildlife. This is
Oh wow.
at Arenal volcano. That's this volcano back there. This is a big lake, Lake Arenal.
Did you guys go to a coffee plantation?
We did. Oh my gosh. I barely fit all the coffee I bought into my suitcase.
Of course. I'll drink to that.
It was
yeah.
so good and it was really inexpensive. Yeah, Costa Rica is known for really good coffee, but it's kind of hard to find it in the States without paying an arm and leg.
Yeah.
Um,
I get my Costa Rican coffee at Sam's Club.
there you go.
I
That's a
get it
good
by
tip
the
too.
barrel.
I know. Yeah, it's delicious. Super good. So here's just walking in the woods with our guide Luis. So Luis is the person who drove us everywhere and translated for us and stuff. The language there is Spanish, and all the locals speak Spanish, but also really good English. Like so, because tourism is their main thing they do. So that wasn't really a barrier, but it was really nice to have someone who could sort of translate for us if we needed it. But he took us into all these different forests, and he's showing us just wildlife you would just walk right past, and explaining like about the trees and just how the whole ecosystem works. And so luckily for me and my mom, she's like really in really good condition. So she is able to do these hikes in the woods without any trouble, which um it's one of those things where it's like go now because and even if you have some mobility issues right now, you're gonna have more later, right?
Right.
Even me.
Yeah.
So that was part of the reason I was like, okay, if she can do it right now, we're going right now. I'm not even gonna wait until next year or whatever, because you don't know. And she was able to do, everything we wanted to do. This is cacao, so where chocolate comes from. It comes off a tree in a big fruit kind of thing, and inside the fruit is this weird membrane, and it's got these like
That's-
nuts sort of things in it, and that's
Oh,
the cocoa beans.
oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was like everywhere we went, it was just like magic. It's like, what? This is how this works?
Grows on trees here?
I know, exactly. This is the road. This is the highway going to one of the places where we stayed. This is why if you're going to Costa Rica, either you got to bring somebody who's comfortable driving kind of off-road for an hour or two, or you have to have somebody drive you between the places. Because this is what a lot of the roads were like. And it's just, you can't totally see the potholes because the camera is sort of blurring it out. But it was just gravel with a whole bunch of potholes up this big, windy road up into the
oh,
mountains. And sometimes it would rain.
It's a rainforest.
Exactly. And that's obviously a road for two-way traffic.
yeah.
But you're in Costa Rica, so
Yeah, everybody knew what to do, but if I was driving, I would have been totally freaked out.
Yeah.
So, anyway, but the scenery was amazing, and I was really glad I wasn't driving because I can enjoy the drive instead of worrying about it.
I like how you
And
said this is the highway and it's like a dirt road.
Yeah.
and it was literally the only way to get up into that one town, which is a huge tourist destination.
Hmm.
So like all the traffic is going on that dirt road to get there. It's crazy.
Wow.
This is at one of our hotels. So it was like basically a jungle that the hotel was in.
Yeah.
And there was all kinds of stuff in that jungle that after it got dark, I'm like, let's just stay on the next to the building.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
see any snakes?
We saw some little, these little types of vipers that we would not have seen them except that they pointed it out to us. But they were like small, like they kind of wrap up into a really small size and they'll be on a branch and then they
Um,
can sneak up on somebody. And they were like yellow and green, like bright colors, which actually
huh.
kind of blended in.
Well, if
So
you look at that banister right there at the
it
lower,
looks like there's one.
yeah, I mean they really probably do disappear because they look like the rest of the foliage.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the other thing about the banister, I guess I was being brave in the moment because Luis, our guide, he warned us on the first day when we were going in somewhere where there was railings like that. He was like, you probably don't want to touch the railings because there can be like ants and stuff on there that can
Mm.
sting you or worse. And
Yeah.
Spiders
exactly. So both of us were like, okay.
walking up the stairs like this.
Totally
Yeah.
like don't touch the railing. I mean, I'm kind of like that since COVID anyway, because I'm like, you germy railing,
Yeah.
but but yeah, so you're totally right. Like things can be hidden in there and you don't even know. So um the thing about going to a place like this, and I told my mom ahead of time, I'm like, we just have to be brave because there's going to be some moments where we're just kind of creeped out about something and or like we're driving on the edge of a cliff or whatever. And
Oh, no.
yeah, you have to see it as the adventure that it is.
Awesome.
Yeah, so let's see if there's anything else. Oh, and the other nice thing about having a third person with you is they can take your picture, like cool pictures. It's sort of like having your own photo pass photographer. So,
What were the temperatures?
hot,
Okay.
hot, especially that last shot in the really jungly place. That was in the south of part of the country, and it was like, it had to have been like 90 degrees, and the humidity had to have been 90%. So, Melanie,
Mm.
actually, you'd probably be fine.
I don't know. No, I didn't say I liked the heat.
And
So
yeah,
you
go ahead.
guys you stayed in several different places and kind of went around the country and didn't have one general home base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I should have put a little map in here. So we started in San Jose, which is the main airport for
Hmm.
the country, and then we kind of did like a diamond shape. So we just worked our way north to a couple destinations up there, and then we came back south and then back to San Jose. So the place we went with the road that was so crazy, that was pretty high in the mountains and a little more in the north of the country, but it's still like this is at the equator. I mean, Costa Rica is just north of Panama. So it's really just elevation or being maybe by the ocean that might help temper it. But Monteverde, which was the high place, that was like my happy place. It was like high was maybe like in the 70s, and then in the evenings it would cool down into like the low 60s, and the
Yeah.
humidity wasn't so bad. It was really like air conditioned up there. But then down here where the Manuel Antonio Park is, it was super hot. It's right next to the Pacific Ocean, which the ocean water, I did go in the ocean, is like 84 degrees.
Wow.
So the temperature barely varies during the day. It'll be like a low of 78 and a high of 88 or whatever. Um, and it was the start of their rainy season. So that's why the humidity was crazy. Every night it rained like these intense thunderstorms, like Florida, but worse thunderstorms. I've seen really bad down in Orlando, but this was like crazy. It would rain for hours like that, which is why it looks so lush, right?
Yeah.
So let's see if I have anything else I was going to show you. Oh yeah, we did. Here's another
Mm.
point where we're brave. We went over some big suspension bridges
Mm.
in one of the rainforests. And even this bridge is like really high off, like, I don't know, 100 feet off the ground or something. And the trees are still going above us.
That's great.
Yeah.
So speaking of mothers, is this a place you would take your daughter on a mother-daughter trip?
Yeah, so my daughter actually has been to Costa Rica
Oh,
before because, like many American kids of this era, her Spanish class, did a trip in middle school or whatever.
wow.
And so, yes, I think she would really like it, but she had been there before. And so, it was actually really fun just being me and my mom too, just the two of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, she would like it there because she's a nature lover, of course. Um, yeah, and anybody who's interested in seeing the natural world would. This is shot by our guide through a spotting scope, not me, but it's just a really cool hummingbird.
Oh, wow.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's a really quick look at what we did in Costa Rica. And it was really magical, really amazing. And whenever I go someplace that I'm like, wow, this is like Disney, I think that's actually really high praise.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this is like the Jungle Cruise. And I'm sure that some people would think like, oh, well, that's silly, like the Jungle Cruise is fake. But when it's fake, then it's really good because you're putting all this extra stuff. It's like no place could ever have all these trees and animals and plants. This is totally fake. And then you go to a place that actually is that plus more, and it's just mind blowing.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, so key takeaways though in terms of the travel with mom is do not wait, have a plan. Don't expect like get help basically like with what you're doing. because it's just so much easier if you can take some of the stress of the actual travel part of it away. I also like, you know, use my wherewithal to get us better seats on the plane and, you know, stuff like that. I made our flights more, well, I just made it easier because we had time. So getting to Costa Rica from Seattle is kind of a big hassle.
Uh,
It's south, but it's like southeast.
Also east.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Texas, you guys could do one flight and be
yeah.
great. But from Seattle, you have to kind of do two trips. You can't fly nonstop.
Yeah.
And so you have to fly somewhere and then get on a plane like either really early in the morning or really late. You end up flying overnight if you're not careful.
Mm.
And
That's a long way.
yeah, it's just far. And so what we did is we flew during the day to Atlanta, and then we stay the night at the airport. There's like a whole bunch of easy hotels right there. And then the next day we got on like a 1 o'clock flight over to Costa Rica. And both flights were only like, I think it was close to 5 hours, Seattle to Atlanta, but then from Atlanta down to San Jose was like 4 hours. So instead of like trying to make my mom fly 9 hours with a tight
Yeah.
connection somewhere at like
Yeah.
5 in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah. All in one day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just, and so we basically did the same thing on the reverse. It made the flights really easy. It took the stress out of getting through the airport and coming back through customs and stuff because it wasn't like we had a flight to meet.
Yeah.
Um, so stuff like that, you know, just kind of thinking through how to take some of the stress away, I think helps a lot.
That's smart because you might balance that with, do I want to go through TSA twice,
Yeah.
or do I want to break up the flight and have a night at a hotel in between? And I definitely see breaking it up as being the better of the two alternatives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually I have global entry, so I have pre-check anyway, which makes it faster.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it's because of her age or because she was flying with me or whatever, but she got pre-check on every single leg.
Oh,
So TSA was extra easy too.
That's great.
I
Yeah.
noticed on a recent flight, I saw some older people, because I don't have TSA pre-check, so obviously I wasn't in that line, but I saw them eh, like putting some older people through there. Um, and I wondered about that. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they already like she told me that once you're 75, I think you don't have to take your shoes off anymore. So
Oh,
there's
yeah.
that.
75?
Okay.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I
Those
know, right?
74-year-olds you really got to watch out for.
I know.
Yeah, I know. It's just so silly anyway. But so maybe they're just I've noticed this too, Melanie, that there's a lot of times when I can tell someone's never been in the pre-check line before, because like when you go through pre-check, you don't have to take the stuff out of your bag and all that. And they're like doing all of it, and the guy's like, no, no, just leave it in. And you know, they're older people who just got pre-check
Right. They
and
just put them through there. Yeah.
exactly. So but that definitely makes it easier too.
Yeah.
I have a
Okay.
question for both of you. Um, neither of you are grandmothers yet,
Yes.
Correct.
but at some point, your adult children with their children are going to want to go on a Disney trip, and you're definitely going to want to go with them.
For sure.
Yeah.
How do you imagine that? I know because we're going to talk in a minute about Melanie and her trip with her mom. How do you think, how would you feel um, that a trip like that should go? Like, what would you like to see happen? This is a golden opportunity for you to say something that maybe you could share this video with your children, and they can go, "Oh, okay, well, this is what mom wants." So,
Oh, my
curious.
kids already know.
Yeah.
What would you tell them, Melanie?
Well, uh, well, I was going to tell this when I told about my mom, but so I have an upcoming trip to Disney World, and it'll be the first time that my mom's not going to go. She
Mm.
made that choice. She just thought, oh, I don't want to slow y'all down. I don't want, and I never said, you know, we don't want you to go, or we want you, I just let her make that call. Um, and so, but, I was talking to my daughter about it because my daughter's going on this trip, and she goes, "Oh, Nana's not gonna go," and I'm like, "No," she said you know, she thinks, she thought that the last time that we went was her last time, and she was good with that.
Mhm.
I told my daughter, I said, "Okay, but when I get her age, I'm not good with that. I'm I I'm going. I wanna go." Now, obviously, if they want their own private trip and don't want to take grandmother or whatever, I totally understand that. But I'm never gonna bow out because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, I'll get a scooter. I'm not
Uh-huh.
too proud
Yeah.
for that."
Yeah. That's one of the things I see more often than not when people are the one-star review thing, that the complaining I see a lot is people saying their scooters are everywhere. And it's like, well, yeah, because they're everywhere now. There's whole companies that will deliver them to the park and pick them up from the park. When we took
Yeah,
our cruise, there was, one out of, 5%, one out of every 20 was some person in a scooter. And sometimes you'd walk down in a hallway, it's just full of people in scooters on their way to dinner at the buffet. And so, you're
yeah,
going to see that at the theme parks, and why not?
yeah.
So, yeah, we foolishly took a wheelchair in 23 when we went for my wife. Um, and I wish we had rented a scooter. We just were
Yeah.
cheap. We wanted to save a buck. And so we didn't get the scooter. But yeah, I could see easily
Yes.
when we are at the age where that's needed, that we'll be getting around on the scooters, and you
Yeah.
just park it and get off, and you go in, and
Yeah.
you get your fast pass, or you get the DAS or whatever, so you don't have to stand in line, and you go and you have a grand old time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Oh,
think the parks are designed for everyone. The
yeah.
Disney parks, Universal's not as much like this, but they're kind of something for everybody. If you like, we did. Jordan and I took my mom to Disney about 10 years ago, and it was the only time. It's the only trip we did like that, but we wanted to take her to Florida and show her all the stuff we like. And we just tried to make an itinerary and a plan for what to do that would be less roller coasters,
Yeah.
more like maybe
Shows.
shows or
Yeah.
dining, or there, or like just rides like a Jungle Cruise ride,
Yeah. Living
and
with the land.
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And and it's really funny because my mom will say that it was still like a really high intensity trip, which it's hard not to be,
Yeah.
because we
Disney.
we
Yeah.
were still rope dropping every morning and all that
Mhm.
stuff, and it's a lot. The pace of it
Can be
can be a
intense.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But um, we I think keeping in mind who you're with makes a big difference.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, because the last time she went was summer of 2021. We went to Disney World, and she can walk, but again, we're going with a big group, my family, my brother's family, and um, we're doing, rope drop to, as long as we can make it, right?
yeah.
And she knew she could not do that all day. So, so what we did is, we didn't rent a scooter until we got there, but I knew because we were rope dropping on the research that I had done that if you're there early, you're most likely going to be able to get, a scooter or a
Hmm.
wheelchair. Yeah. To rent one from Disney. Because if don't get there till, mid morning or afternoon, they're most likely gone.
Yeah.
So, uh, which is why I didn't rent one from another or an outside company and have it brought in. But I know a lot of people do because I follow a lot of the, Facebook sites, and they talk a lot about who to rent from and who not to and that kind of thing. But
Hmm.
uh, but one of the things that we did was the resort that we chose was the Caribbean Beach Resort, and I um, put in to get a room or two rooms, my family and brother's family, close to not too far from where you have to walk to get to the Skyliner.
Hmm.
And so we did that, and that was our first time being at a resort that was on the Skyliner route. And I didn't realize, but they've got the regular group that isn't slow or doesn't have strollers or wheelchairs, and you get on pretty quick and it just goes right. And
Hmm.
but they do have some of the uh vehicles that they kind of pull
They
off to the
take it off.
side to
Yeah,
to
Oh,
load. Yeah.
nice.
for handicap.
And because yes, and my mom does have a handicap sticker, like she, for her car or whatever,
Well, if you have a
and
wheelchair or a scooter or something, yeah, they pull it off
yeah,
the line
but
and
we didn't have one. But
hmm.
they could tell by the way that she walks, because she doesn't, walk exactly normal, because she's
Hmm.
had two knee replacements and a back surgery.
Oh,
Hmm.
jeez.
So yeah, and so we went, through that, and so it's slow moving, so it gives her a chance to get on, because she was real worried about it going fast. I'm gonna miss it. I'm not gonna,
Yeah, yeah,
gonna
Yeah,
knock me over. She's really worried about
because you
falling
kind of have to walk
yeah.
with it and board it, right?
and get
Because it
on
doesn't
like
really
that.
stop
Correct.
for you, so they have
Yeah,
one that
Yeah,
yeah.
stops.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we did great. She did great. All the parks that we went to, we just went, in the morning, rented her a scooter, and she did fine on it. Now, she and I will say this because how you were saying that there's so many scooters. Well, so she doesn't use a scooter at home.
Oh,
So she's
yeah.
not used to driving a
That's
scooter.
tricky.
And I think there's probably quite a few people there driving them that aren't used to driving
And they're
them.
in a big crowd. I always wonder
Oh,
about
I
that.
know. Yeah, I know. So it was a little stressful navigating, getting her around, um and she'd complain a lot because I mean it's hard to move in those when there's big groups and there's people that aren't moving, and then she's accidentally running into people or to
Hmm.
strollers or to yeah, or somebody's running into her.
Or
So
Right.
sometimes not accidentally,
and one
or
time at Magic Kingdom, true. One time at Magic Kingdom, her battery died, and we
Oh,
were
no.
by the carousel, I think, yeah.
Oh, no.
Um, but we were about to go into the castle to the, what's the dining? The royal
Oh, yeah,
table,
the
is it? Yeah, the
Cinderella.
Cinderella's royal table. Yeah.
Cinderella's area, right? Yeah. So they said, no worries while you're, having lunch. We will have another scooter ready for you when you get
Oh, that's
out. And they
great.
did. They did. So that was good. They came and got it. And yeah, so those they do die.
I
Um
didn't think of that.
yeah. So they're not, it's not a perfect thing, but she did great. I mean, except for, the complaining, but we're used to that. So it's just all part of the fun.
Oh,
That can be
mom.
anybody you go with can be a
It
complainer.
is. It is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, 10 years ago we went with uh like we we didn't actually stay at a resort. We had, got an Airbnb because we had to have 6 bedrooms. There
Oh,
were so
geez.
many of us. Because my dad and stepmom went, my mom went, my whole brother's family, my family, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And um and my dad, he's not like my mom. My mom's like, yeah, I don't have a problem getting a scooter. Yeah, let's, do that. And no, he, didn't, too prideful or whatever to get, a scooter or a wheelchair or anything. And so I think we were at Magic Kingdom, and and this is when we learned how close trash cans are, because he would, get to a trash can and lean on it,
Oh
and, and then,
no.
oh yeah, walk, because
Oh
his
my
health wasn't good.
gosh.
He passed away the year after that.
No.
Um, and so so he would do trash can. Well, so when we went to Animal Kingdom, I'm like, Dad, you need to get a scooter. Well, my stepmom went up there and I guess ordered it for, but no, she didn't want to pay for a scooter. She got him a wheelchair. So, but a wheelchair still means somebody has to push him, right?
Exactly.
And in an Animal Kingdom, oh,
Oh, that's far.
here's a tip.
It's hilly.
No, it's hilly. And my teenage boys, I mean, they were like what, like 17 and 19 or something like that. Yeah. They had to take turns, but I'll just never forget my one son using all his might to push my dad up the hill.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
I remember
that
pushing Cheryl around the Maharaja Jungle Trek, and I'm just like, let's
oh,
stop and look at animals for a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
While I
Yeah.
catch my breath.
You need a drink
Yeah.
of water.
Oh, look, a bench.
yeah. And yeah. And my mom's like, "Oh no, I'm not doing that. No, I don't want somebody to have to push me." And we're here at Disney. I'm spending the money to get a scooter, so there you
Right.
go. But yeah, but Animal Kingdom has hills, and you may not realize it if you're just, young and mobile and just
Yeah.
trekking around, and, back then it was fast passes running from one thing
Oh,
to the
geez.
next. And I remember, sending somebody off because you could go and get the whole group's fast pass. You only needed one person to do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, your
so
son's got a workout. It sounds like running for the
oh,
fast
yes,
pass and then pushing
they
grandpa.
did. I know. They had to take turns. I mean, yeah. I mean, my brother and my husband did it too, but I mean, they it was, yeah, that part wasn't fun, but yeah.
No.
Uh,
And then
anyway,
Epcot's twice as big, so you're just walking a long ways, and there's crowds and stuff. So
oh,
yeah,
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 yeah.
scooter's definitely the way to go. So when we get to be that age, that'll be how we do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking forward to those trips where it's, a little more leisure, a little less running for the fast pass, a little bit more the dining, the hanging out at the Nomad
Yeah.
Lounge, and just people
Mhm.
watching. No, just knowing you're there. That sounds so luxurious to me. You spend all this
Yeah.
money, and you're just
But I will say though that, and probably you guys follow all the same, uh, pages that I do on Facebook, and they really have cracked down on the DAS passes, or
Mhm.
DAS, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and
But you show up with a
so
wheelchair or a scooter, they're not gonna not even gonna
Yeah, I think
question
you're
it.
gonna be
no, now
okay.
you have to just go in the regular line, and
Well, no, they'll ask you. Like if you show up, they'll ask you if you can get out of it. And you say, yes, I can't stand for long times, but I can transfer from the wheelchair or scooter to the ride, then they'll give you a DAS pass. But the people that took advantage of the people who said, my kid's autistic, and their kid's over there, solving a Rubik's Cube or something, pretending to be autistic when they're perfectly fine. Those are the people
well,
that,
that's
that
it.
have
Yeah,
ruined the DAS pass. If you
yeah,
if you physically have like a cast on your leg, or you're in a wheelchair or have a scooter or walking with a cane, they're not going to make you stand in line. They're going to give you the DAS pass, and you just have to
Yeah,
show up
I
at
would
guest
think so.
services first thing in the morning, and they'll take care of that
well, I
for you.
know that they do. If you're in a wheelchair or you're in a scooter, you do have to wait in line now. Obviously, the only time that you can like cut that, or I think what they've done is you don't get to cut it and actually have a DAS. You
Hmm.
can't. You go to where the, like, I guess Lightning Lane is now, and you talk to them, and then they'll give you a, I don't know what it is that
Like a paper
they give you a
return
time
thing?
window or something
Huh.
to, because what, and they'll base it off, okay, regular wait time is 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So you can come back in 90 minutes and then we'll let
Oh
you.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then you can skip
So
staying in
yeah,
line.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it used to be, yeah, you could just use that desk, just get right on. So
They might do
they
it in the app because that they did something similar when we were there in 23 with the app.
yeah.
You know, it
I
was
just
90-minute
know,
wait for Ratatouille. They would that at that point we had a 90-minute
yeah,
pause button until we could go up to the fast pass line and go ahead and get on the
yeah.
attraction. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There's just been a lot of people complaining about that they were able to get DAS passes for their whatever special needs kids, and
Yeah.
then now they have to do these interviews, and then they've got these kids they don't want to do an interview,
You
and
have to bring like
kind of
medical stuff and
it's
you
a
know, with
little hot
HIPAA, you're
mess
not
right
supposed to.
now
Complicated.
Yeah.
because I guess the biggest complaint is the who you get on the Disney side that's actually doing the interviewing. Some are very capable and good, and some have complained, and who knows, this is Facebook. They could be making it up. That, oh, it's just this young kid and they got thrown into doing this, and they don't, they're
Yeah.
rude, or they don't ask the question, they're not, and then we got denied, and that
That's
kind of
the
thing.
hard part
Like,
about
it,
staffing 140,000 people in a
there
single
you
site
go. Yep.
location. You know, you're just going to end up with people like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, that's what I've been reading and following, and people's comments. Why I get into those threads, I don't know. I just read them and read them and read them, and I'm like,
They
and then
suck
I'm
you
like,
in.
Melanie, how does this apply to you? It doesn't. Okay.
Hey, keep talking. I'll be right back. I want to show you guys something.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Facebook can kind of do that. I have to just like,
It can suck you
okay,
in.
I need
That's
to.
for sure.
I know, I know. Well, with I feel like if I'm follow all these, Disney makes me happy.
I
A
know,
lot of other
right?
stuff on Facebook does not make me happy. So I'm like, okay, so I just go down the
It's
rabbit hole
exactly.
of
It's a little
Disney, right?
escape. Exactly. Totally. What do you think
And
we're
for the
doing
most
right
part, it
now?
does make me happy. I love the rope drop humor Facebook page. Just so many funny people.
Oh my
They're just
gosh.
and yeah.
Wait,
Okay,
So
what do
there's
you
a
have,
rope
Joey?
drop humor Facebook page. Well, all right, we're talking
yes,
about
that's what it's called.
Okay.
moms,
Yeah.
and we're talking about Disney. And I'm cleaning up my office. So you might notice I have some shelves behind me. I'm finally getting things out of boxes and up on
Oh,
shelves. I'm gonna see if I can do this where I might have to turn. Yeah, let's turn the blur feature off. Oh, hello.
Then we can see our shelves
Yeah,
because they're
there's
blurred
really
right
nothing
now.
on them right now because I'm in the process of
Ooh,
getting
that's
organized, but
good.
I have shelves.
Look
But
at
I also
that.
have, I found this.
What is
This
this?
is like 1976. That's me in the stroller, and that's my mom.
aw.
This is actually my grandmother up here.
Oh my
She went with us.
gosh.
Was that
That's
one of
a
your brothers in the middle?
Probably. Yeah, they look like trouble. So yeah, that's probably one of my brothers. But here we are in Tomorrowland.
That's
That's
so
little old
cool.
Joey there.
That
So
is
yeah, my
so
mom had found some old baby photos of me and decided to give them to me. And yeah, and you know what's funny? Yep. San Diego Zoo, it's
Uh,
all the places that we went where my dad, of course, taking all the pictures. I think there might be some more Disney ones in here. Birthday pictures. But yeah, I just thought we were talking about it and it reminded me that I had those. And so oh yeah,
oh, I
oh,
love
you're
it.
gonna love this one. So there's little me with mouse ears,
Oh, that's
oh,
awesome.
probably at Disneyland, probably at one of the dining establishments, but yeah, fun stuff.
That is so great that you have that.
Yeah. So I should have
I'll
sent
see
them
if
to the
I can dig
Smithsonian.
some up for the next show of me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know, I'm pretty sure I have them, or somebody does. So yeah.
I know. I looked for some pictures from when I went to Disney when I was a kid, and they were only pictures that I took as like a 10-year-old, and they're terrible.
Oh yeah.
Are they
Yeah.
But
selfies or?
no, none of, I'm not in any of them. They're weird, blurry pictures of like
Oh
rides
yeah.
and stuff. I mean, you're shooting on film back then and you're 10, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there are pictures of me and my brother. We went with my cousins and my grandma and my uncle. But I don't know what happened to all those pictures. But someday maybe somebody will come across them.
Yeah. With the maybe some of the scary costumes back then. They were a little
Exactly.
scarier.
I think
Actually,
I do have some picture
my
of that.
brother for work had to go to Vegas this week, and he sent me some photos of Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and
Mm.
Goofy. And I said,
In
that is
Vegas?
not Mickey. That is not Minnie. That is not Goofy. Those things are scary looking. But it reminded me of like old Disney, the costumes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, from like the
Exactly.
60s. Yeah.
Yep.
They
So
probably
funny.
just found those in the Goodwill somewhere.
In the dumpster in the back.
Mhm. And actually, my brother, the photo that he took of Minnie, then Minnie started grabbing his arm for money.
Oh,
Mhm.
it was
And
that.
I'm like,
That's what they
well,
do on the strip.
I'm
Yeah.
like, Todd, you took photos, so
You
they
have
That's
to
the same
pay.
thing
Yeah.
with like on Hollywood Boulevard. They'll just be out there, and that's how they're making money. This,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. I
Oh,
took my
that's
picture
funny.
with Elvis once, and on in Vegas on the strip, and
Oh,
he was the worst Elvis. He didn't look
oh.
a thing like Elvis. He was some old heavyweight dude dressed
Did you
up like
bring it?
Elvis.
Did you bring him a jelly donut?
That did not bring him a jelly donut, no. But I took my picture. I was like, "Hey, can I get a picture?" And he's like, "Yes." I whipped my phone. I took a picture, and he puts his hand out, and I said, "Oh, you want some gum?"
No,
Oh,
no,
boy.
that's not okay.
That's all I got.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys. Well, it seems that we've wrapped up our topic.
Yay!
Go now. Take mom and go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the key. Just go do it. Plan a trip.
Get a scooter.
And get a scooter.
Yeah.
I mean, if needed.
Or just get a scooter. I mean,
You're just get a scooter. Yeah. Yeah.
You stay on property, get a scooter.
yeah.
Makes your life easier.
Make it easy. Make it fun.
Oh, you know what? The one thing I just remembered is they did tell us the part of the reason that the scooter battery didn't last all day is because there's something about the seat, and every time you get up, it does something where it drains the battery more when you get off of the scooter
Really?
and then you sit back down. Yeah, it triggers something.
Hmm.
I cannot remember what it is. I'll probably, if I Google it, tell me right away. But because she wasn't in the scooter 24/7, she could still get up to, uh, shop a little bit and then go
Mhm.
back and sit down, right? And
Mhm.
that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
she got up and down a lot, and
And that used more of the
yeah,
battery.
that will
That's
drain
weird.
the battery. Yeah. So
Huh.
anyway, not that that's a tip or not,
Imagine
but
that.
maybe it is something to think about, or if it's going to
Be
be
aware
somebody
of
that's going
it.
to get up and
People at a theme park getting up and getting down in and out of their scooter to do things. It's unheard of. Hard to
well,
imagine that.
yeah. Well, I mean, some scooter people have to stay in the scooter.
I suppose that's true.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
anyway,
So next time we already know what we're going to talk about, right? Because we're going to talk about planning Melanie's trip that's coming up.
yeah, yep.
Summer 2025.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah. There's some different things that are going to be happening this time, and my 60-day window for getting dining is June 1st. So I know we're
Okay.
doing the show
Right
after that.
around
So
then.
that'll be good.
Okay.
Because then I'll have some, things to talk about as far as, oh, what did I get? What did I not
Yeah,
get?
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
All right. Good. Well, I'm looking forward to that. So that, and yeah, sometime the beginning of June, we'll be back. I'll post it on my Facebook. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for chatting with me
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, great to see you guys.
Yeah.
And okay, we're going to say bye to YouTube and anybody who's Bye, Mom.